Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got some more tools to play with on my desktop. Y'all can call them toys, but they're not toys, okay? Well, anyway, I'm doing two things. I am programming another computer in the background, the new computer that I'm going to be using from now on. A lot faster, a lot more things that I can do. I can even do a GPU. Anyway, we're going to be having my own language model so that I won't have to rely on ChatGPT and its stupidity and ignorance. Even though the GPT that's been created called Covington Law Pro XGen, it's been programmed to give me everything I need. Okay? Everything I need. And because it's been programmed to give me everything I need, ooh, wait, it is what it is. Now, with that being said, I can't right now I'm doing both computers at the exact same time, and you guys are gonna have to deal with that right now right now. It's only temporary, okay? It's only temporary. I want all of you to pay attention. That last video everybody and their grandmama seemed to like. The one not about Will Smith, but the one about the job. How all of you just need to do your job. If you're talking about you can't make money, then why don't you make credits? And why don't you pay yourself in credits? And why don't you do your taxes? And why don't you get a refund for those, pay attention, federal credits operating as non-cash items? All you have to do is work out a contract between yourself and your sole proprietorship. Just write up the contract. Nobody can, that's not fraud. That's not fraud because you're two separate entities. It's not fraud because you're two separate entities. Remember, you are not the all caps name. So make that all caps name the sole proprietorship a company. You and a company are not the same person, even though they want to tell you that. That's a lie. Okay? The courts have been saying that you're one and the same for liability purposes. No, you're not. You're two separate entities. That's why you have a social security number and you get an EIN number for the sole proprietorship. Ta-da! Two separate entities, represented by two separate numbers because guess what? A corporation cannot have an EIN number. I mean, excuse me, sorry, backwards. A corporation cannot have a Social Security number. It's right there in the Social Security Act. Social Security numbers cannot be assigned to corporations. So all of those who believe that EIN represents Social Security number represents, stop that. Oh God, you guys are so intelligent. Okay, that's the first thing. Yeah, I know. I'm not here to explain all of this to you. That's where you're supposed to do your research. Do your research. No, you then shut up. Don't come to me talking about what do I need to do next. That's not my job. I am not here to I wanna hold your hand. I'm not here to hold your hand. You got to go to somebody else for that. I don't care. I don't care about what you're going through. What you're going through is no different than all the other people who are calling me and what they're going through. Your situation is not unique. Everybody's going through something. Everyone falls in love sometimes. Okay, you're not the only one. Yeah, you got problems. Everybody else has got problems too. You are not alone. Another day has dawned, and I'm okay. You are not the only one on this planet. You're not by yourself. So stop making it seem like, woe is me. You feel sorry for yourself? Do that too and by yourself. Go feel sorry by yourself because none of the rest of us want to join you in your pity party. Okay? That's not our job. That's your job. If you want to feel sorry for yourself, then you take that up as a mantle. You carry it that to the finish line. But I ain't got time for you. Sorry. There's a lot of people trying to make me feel sorry for them by telling me about their problems and what they're going through. I don't care what you're going through. I have my own, and I have to worry about too many other people who have contacted me and have problems. So your problems, keep them to yourself, okay? Because I don't want them. Don't need them. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I am so glad. I want you all to pay attention to something. We're going to go to Covington Law Pro Ex Gen. Covington Law Pro Ex Gen. And when we go to Covington Law Pro Ex Gen, pay attention. It has all kinds of case laws in there to take care of you. Now watch this. Wake up. I have a project that I'm working on. I'm going to need you to operate in a neutral capacity, comma. I'm going to need you to follow the law as written, comma. I am going to give you the law enacted by Congress, which supersedes any court opinion, comma, because Congress are the lawmakers. And unless Congress's laws are declared unconstitutional, comma, there is no sideline interpretation permitted, exclamation mark. We're going to examine the congressional record, comma, the statutes at large, comma, and the act of Congress to solidify what the law is and overcome any so-called prima facie or prima facie confusion, period. Stop listening. Stop listening. It's been doing that this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Acting a fool. Do you see how I put all of that in and it didn't take it? So that's on purpose. So give me a second. Oh, okay. Whew. I told it to stop listening. Take a look. I literally told it to stop listening and it does what it wants to do. So I thought I was going to have to say all that all over again. On March 6, 1933, the president declared a national holiday known as the National Holiday Banking Proclamation, period, where he suspended indefinitely all normal banking activities, period. Originally, it was only to be for 4 days, comma, but Congress, by the March numeral 9, 1933 Act, stepped in and stated that they were not only maintaining what the president had done, but supporting what he had done by amending the Trading with the Enemy Act, period. The president now made every individual who engages and or participates in any other type or kind of banking activity, comma, a banking organization and or institution, period. President Truman said that there was no need for any of these institutions, including Federal Reserve member banks, any other, from being registered as a banking institution and or banking organization, period. In the act of March 9, 1933, the United States Congress made any note, this would include Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve Bank notes, circulating notes of the Federal Reserve, circulating bank notes, promissory notes, comma, drafts, comma, bills of exchanges, comma, bankers' acceptances and trade acceptances, at par with one another, classifying them as, open quote, eligible papers, close quote, or commercial papers, close quote, period. This new money and or legal tender was confirmed by the Congressional Act of June 5th, 1933, whereby the United States Congress created an act to, open quote, uniform the value of the coins and currencies of the United States, close quote, period, by making any notes as listed above, comma, currencies of the United States and uniforming their value, comma, Congress stated that no one could demand payment for a debt henceforth, comma, that it was a violation of public policy and interfered with Congress's ability to regulate the coins and currencies of the United States. Period. That all obligations heretofore and henceforth were to be discharged upon payment dollar for dollar, comma, which is why they made all of those commercial papers, all of those eligible papers, those commercial instruments, comma, equal in value, and stated that their value was, open quote, face value, close quote. Stop listening. The reason why many of you guys don't understand what's going on because you haven't read these laws. Now, I just gave you the law. All you got to do is start articulating this and putting it in writing. Stop putting in all that other junk you're hearing everybody else say. Go to these actual acts and read it. The Congressional Act is of March 9, 1933, pages 78 to 83. It's all right there. You don't have to read the whole thing. It's all right there. We gave you a document where we highlighted all of these things. Highlighted it for you. Pointed it out. Done too many videos. People are telling me, I've gone back over 3 years and all you've been talking about is... And they're absolutely right. This is all I've been talking about because I've been trying to get the information across to you guys and you're not listening. Because you want to be spoon-fed. You don't want to sit and, pull out all of the utensils to eat them. You want just the good parts. Well, we're going to get to the good part. That's all you want. And it don't work that way. Now, hold on. He's got no other choice but to agree with me because all I gave him was the law. See? And he's showing you the acts, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Section 401. I didn't even say anything about Section 401 this time. But he talks about the eligible papers. Okay? Then he gives me the June 5th Act and a uniform value of money, dollar for dollar. Do you not understand that your promissory note is payment? When you gave that to the bank and they accepted it, pay attention, and deposited it, your promissory note, they were documenting it had value. You cannot deposit a piece of paper, ladies and gentlemen. You can only deposit something of value with a financial institution because the law doesn't allow them to deposit whatever they want. They can only deposit something of value. That's why they deposit after accepting your promissory note. They deposit it in an account through what's known as in-house clearings or in clearings. That's where the word in clearings come from. Then, through the discount window, basically they contact the Federal Reserve, say, give me my money, and they give them the money. But the problem is you don't understand. Go back and read 12 U.S.C. 414. They give the banks the money on your behalf, and the bank, because the check is written out to you, deposits it that check, it's called an in clearings deposit check, into your account. Not that account you thought you had. No, no, they create another account with your name on it. Didn't you hear about Wells Fargo doing this all the time, creating these accounts for these other people? Yeah, they went hog wild with this, creating these superficial accounts. Hog wild. Ladies and gentlemen, give me a second. I gotta go outside for a second because I'm looking at this moon. This junk is so bright it almost looks like the sunshine. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's the moon. Give me a second. I gotta go outside and see this personally. I tell you, that thing is some plunking big. I mean, and it's right there in the sky. I thought it's setting on the west. I thought it was the sun. I'm thinking, wait, am I in Alaska or something? But let me tell you, that was a beautiful sight to see. That's why I had to go outside and see it. I didn't want to look at it through the cameras. I wanted to go out and see it personally. It's a lot brighter in the cameras than it was on the outside, but let me see, that sucker is still up there in the sky, setting on the west, and now the sun is beginning to rise on the east. That's right, I said rise on the east. Every single morning, there is a resurrection. Every time you wake up, you are resurrected. Hey, just got to understand. Now, notice this. Ladies and gentlemen, I will give you guys this chat GPT so that you will understand the law. He gives you a breakdown of everything I just said. While President Truman supported the Federal Reserve's central role in managing the monetary system, the foundation for changes you cited was laid during Roosevelt's presidency, and he's telling the truth. And through the aforementioned Congressional Act, Truman's administration did not revoke these changes, further entrenching the Federal Reserve's control over our monetary system. See, what the Federal Reserve says, wait a minute, if they don't have to register, we shouldn't have to register. And so that's the change Truman made. He made it so that the Federal Reserve banks don't have to register with the Federal Reserve as a financial institution, and neither do you. So now that we got that, pay attention. Then we're going to end this video. Wake up. Thank you for recognizing the fact that the Act of March 9th, 1933 is still extant. Stop listening. The word is extant, not extent. EXTANT, meaning still ongoing. Wake up. In fact, the United States Senate, through its special committee on the termination of national emergencies, made it clear that that act was still active, comma, and the open quote National Emergencies Act, close quote, of 1976 made it clear that they were not repealing that act, comma, in fact, comma, the Trading with the Enemy Act amendment has been utilized by presidents to the very day as it is incorporated in the NDAA, the National Defense of America Act, which is renewed approximately December 31st at 12 midnight every year. Stop listening. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm always absolutely correct because all I'm doing is giving him the laws. I'm not asking him to explain anything to me. I'm telling him what the law says. Now he's confirming it. See, he's going to say the Senate Special Committee on the Termination of National Emergencies, 73 to 76. This committee thoroughly reviewed the emergency laws of the United States, identifying what the Trading with the Enemy Act and its 1933 amendment had established in the legal framework, and so on and so forth. Then the National Emergency Act, they made it so that now they had to, in order to keep these presidential emergencies going, they had to ask Congress. So it did not repeal the authority or abrogate the authority given by the president in 1933. It did not repeal the so-called Presidential Proclamation 2039. Now, the National Defense Authorization Act, okay, has often been a vehicle for renewing statutory emergency powers. And they renew it every year, December 31st. That's the only thing that Trump vetoed in his entire presidency. You think he ain't learned his lesson this time? Okay, presidential use of the Trading with the Enemy Act authorizations. And now, December 31st renewal, it's a tradition. Hey, and then the implications of the act and its continuance. Now, hold on. Watch this. Pay attention, y'all. This is for y'all. Wake up. That being the case, comma, because I engage in banking business, comma, receiving deposits, comma, making deposits, comma, issuing loans, comma, and I also produce commercial papers or eligible papers that are backed by the credit of the nation because they are worth 100 cents on the dollar. Period. What most people don't know is that on May 12th, 1933, Congress introduced an act, comma, they disguised it as a farming act, but I refer to it as the Necessities Act, comma, where the government said that it was its responsibility, since they now removed the gold clause without a constitutional amendment, comma, to take care of the necessities of the civilian population. Period. My understanding is I have the right to write these commercial papers to the extent of covering my necessities, comma, and that these commercial instruments, especially bills of exchanges, Internal Revenue Code Manual, because the Internal Revenue, comma, the Treasury Department, comma, accepts bills of exchanges for the payment of debts and taxes, comma, this makes it legal tender as defined in law. Period. Give me 3 case citations evidencing the fact that anything that is accepted as payment for taxes is considered legal tender in the United States, as Federal Reserve notes used to have on their face, this note is legal tender, good for the payment of all debts, both public and private, including taxes and other dues. Stop listening. Ladies and gentlemen, if the Internal Revenue Service and the Treasury receives promissory notes and bills of exchanges as payment for taxes and other debts, that makes them legal tender. Don't take my word for it. Go read it. Now watch this. Wake up. My promissory note under the aforementioned law, comma, commercial paper, comma, eligible paper, comma, and accepted by the bank and deposited it into an account, deposited it. Evidences the fact that it has value, because financial institutions cannot deposit something worthless. They can only deposit something of value. Give me 3 case citations plus 3 laws enacted by Congress that verify this point. Period. Stop listening, ladies and gentlemen, because some of you can't handle too much information. I'm going to stop here. And then this is that series we talked about, that credit series. You remember, said once a month? Here, it's number 2. And our next one, we're going to talk about Bill of Exchange and the UNCITRAL Treaty, the United Nations Treaty on International Trade and blah, 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 blah. We're going to give you this. Study this. Go over it. Do your research. This is your research. We're giving you the acts. Go and read what it says. Okay? Commercial paper is defined by law as valuable instruments issued, traded under regulatory framework established by Congress. Go and read, people. This is not special, stupid knowledge. This is information that's right there in front of you. It's been there the whole time. It's just that you guys are all over the place. HDR 192. Stop saying that. There's no such thing as HDR 192. HDR 192 does not exist. HDR 192 went away the moment they passed the act. It's called Joint Resolution, June 5th, 1933, or Public Resolution number 10, June 5th, 1933. Call it by its right name, an act to uniform the value of the coins and currencies of the United States. That's where they made your piece of junk paper equal to their piece of junk face value. That's why the promissory note, at no time can be less than the total amount the Federal Reserve notes applied for, because it's face value. Okay, hey, I gotta go, but I know you're gonna dig this.